Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the San Martin SN021-G limited edition. This watch is available from watchdives.com for $300. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with a piece. So the SN021-G limited edition comes in this black plastic pelican style case. I'll show you the interior. As you can see, both halves of the case are finished with two foam panels, which does a good job of protecting the watch in shipping from any damage. I like this pelican style case, durable, lightweight and practical, and they do an excellent job of protecting the watch. With regards to other items, one gets these two stainless steel tools, solid stainless steel, knurled finish. One is a spring bar tool with a push pin at one end and a two-pronged fork for removing spring bars at the other end. The other tool is a 1.6mm flat-bladed screwdriver, and you can use that for removing the screws for resizing the bracelet, so it's nice to get good quality tools included with the watch. One also gets this nylon seatbelt weave NATO strap, as you can see, brushed satin finish to the solid 316L grade stainless steel buckle and tang, good heavy gauge of metal, so it's going to be durable. The two stainless steel keepers are stitched either side, as you can see. Flawless stitching on the top side and underside, they're not going to slide out of position and the stitching isn't going to come loose. Good quality heavy gauge of metal to the keepers, so good quality stainless steel hardware throughout. And also like the quality of the nylon seatbelt weave fabric. It's like ballistic nylon, soft and supple, but it's also going to be durable because it's stitched on the edges. One detail I like is the end of the strap is welded, so it's not going to fray. And also around the holes, they are also welded, so the holes aren't going to fray with regular use from the buckle and tang. So it will fit a 6 to 7 inch wrist with no difficulty whatsoever, and it's nice to get a good quality NATO strap included as an accessory with the watch. This is the owner's instruction manual, clear concise diagrams. The instructions are in English and it details every aspect of operating the SN021-G limited edition, including the movement, which is the Caliber PT5000 automatic. And lastly, one also gets this plastic San Martin guarantee card, and as you can see on the reverse, it's stamped by San Martin Watches and the date of purchase will be filled in. Now, if you purchase the watch from San Martin, it's covered by their standard 2-year international guarantee. But however, if you purchase the watch from watchdives.com, it is covered by a 3-year international guarantee, which is very reassuring. So that's something to consider. Purchasing the watch from watchdives.com gives you a 3-year rather than a 2-year international guarantee. So with regards to the specifications of the piece, this is the San Martin SN021-G limited edition. 36mm case. Now I want to clarify something. Although it's stated as having a 36mm case diameter, I have measured the case diameter accurately using my digital caliper, and I can confirm it's actually 36.9mm, so very close to 37mm at its widest point of the case. So that's something to consider. 45mm lug-to-lug measurement. It has a thickness of 11.3mm and a lug width of 20mm. The oyster style bracelet tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to the 2-button push clasp. The clasp is signed with the San Martin Hex logo, as you can see, which is embossed and finished to a very high standard. Beautiful luster to the 316L grade stainless steel. I really like the large chamfer, which is machined on the edge of the 2-button push clasp. And as you'll know from my previous reviews, I'm often critical of brands only having 2 or 3 micro adjustment holes. San Martin have got it correct because they have 4 micro adjustment holes, which allows for plenty of adjustment, fine-tuning the length of the oyster style bracelet. Flat sapphire crystal with clear AR coating, and the clear AR coating does an outstanding job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the silver applied Hex logo and also the silver Mercedes hands. Now the thing to note is the SN020-G, the 39mm version, has silver applied indices, but on this 36mm version, the SN021-G limited edition, the BGW9 indices are printed on the dial rather than being applied, so that's something to bear in mind. Another notable difference between the SN020 and this SN021 is that it uses a flat sapphire crystal. On the 39mm it uses a boxed top hat style crystal which has a dome to it, But this 36mm version has a flat sapphire crystal, and I really like the lip of the edge of the crystal which projects above the mirror polished stainless steel bezel. So very well executed, and the clear AR coating on the underside of the flat sapphire crystal does an outstanding job, as I've discussed. One thing I really like about this watch is the female pivoted end links, and as you can see, if you look at the female pivoted end links, they allow for extra articulation. I think this is an excellent feature because it means that one can get a very snug fit to the wrist. The end of the oyster style links in the bracelet can articulate and move closer to the wrist, as you can see, and I really think that female pivoted end links are superior to male end links, which give a longer effective lug to lug measurement. The finishing to the oyster style bracelet is perfection. Beautiful luster to the 316L grade stainless steel, which is Rolex quality finishing. Mirror polishing to the flanks, and we have screw pins in the bracelet rather than push pins, so no cost cutting measures whatsoever. Good foam resistance to the 2-button push triggers in the clasp. Solid 316L grade stainless steel milled interior, as you can see. Brushed satin finish to the top side, underside and flanks, and the clasp is finished throughout to a very high standard. The case back provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters of water resistance, concentric brushed satin finishing to it, sterile, perfectly flat, low profile, and gives a very good comfortable fit to the wrist when wearing the piece for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. The solid end links are a good tight fit to the case, no extra play, no sharp edges, no burrs, very well finished, and as I've discussed, the female pivoted end links are superior to male end links. The quality of the case finishing throughout is outstanding. This is the kind of case finishing, in terms of the polishing and the brushed satin finishing, one would expect to see on a mid-tier piece costing in excess of €500. So to get this at only $300 really is incredible. The mirror polishing to the flanks of the case is superb, as is the brushed satin finishing to the tops of the lugs. So San Martin deserve full credit for outstanding quality case finishing. So let's test the crown action. Coin edge finish, solid 316L grade stainless steel crown. Now the thing to note is a notable upgrade on this SN021-G limited edition is San Martin have changed the crown. On the SN020-G they use the San Martin S logo, which I dislike. It looks like a US dollar symbol. But they've updated the crown. As you can see, it has San Martin's hex logo embossed, and the quality of the finishing to that embossed hex logo is just absolutely incredible. It is really high grade, and I think they deserve full credit for making a very well executed signed crown. I'm hoping they introduce this San Martin hex logo to all their watches rather than the inconsistencies of using the shark logo on the SN017 and SN019, and they also use the S symbol, which looks like a dollar sign, on the SN020, for example, and the SN004. This really is superior. It really does add continuity because they use the same hex logo with the applied logo on the dial, the hex logo on the crown, and then also the hex logo on the 2-button push clasp. So it adds continuity. The same logo, the same hex is used in all 3 places rather than different logos. So let's test the crown action and we'll see how it performs. Silky smooth. Good foam resistance to it. Now there is more resistance than the Seiko NH35A, which is used in the 39mm version, the SN020. So that's something to get used to. The PT5000 feels different to a Seiko NH35A. When unscrewing it, the winding stem has more resistance. There's more resistance to the crown threading. Has the similar characteristic pop. The winding stem pushes out. It's a spring-loaded action. So in the first position, one can manually wind the caliber PT5000 to top it up to its maximum 40 hours. Absolute pleasure to manually wind it. One can feel the tension in the mainspring gradually building up as the power reserve increases to its maximum 40 hours. Now, being a PT5000, it does have a date complication which is hidden underneath the dial. So there is a phantom date position. Pulling it out to the first click is the date position. Pulling it out to the last click hacks the movement. As you can see, I have now stopped the second hand and it's now in the time setting position. Absolutely silky smooth. Lighter resistance to the gearing than the Seiko NH35A, so it's an absolute pleasure to set the time. It feels silky smooth in clockwise and anti-clockwise rotation. Pushing it back in, it's got a nice positive click, and that restarts the movement. So let's test screwing it back down. Absolutely silky smooth. Immediate pickup. The interface between the internal thread of the solid coin edge finished crown and the external thread of the stainless steel crown tube is perfect. The thread meshing is very good, so silky smooth but more firm resistance than with a Seiko NH35A. It's a characteristic of the PT5000. The crown action is stiffer, but it is still silky smooth. So the crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters of water resistance, which is perfectly acceptable for a daily wear piece. So I'll give you a wrist shot, and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now I haven't sized the bracelet, I've simply taken the watch out of the watch box, and as you can see I'm pleased to report it fits my 8-inch wrist perfectly with no sizing required. So the female pivoted end links give a very snug tight fit to the wrist. As you can see, they pull the end link down vertically close to the wrist, so there is no abhorrent gap underneath the ends of the lugs and the end of the bracelet. Now, I will say that if you are a collector with a 6 to 7 inch wrist, this is the perfect fit. This will give you the perfect feel-good factor, the perfect comfort level for a daily wear piece, wearing it for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. But however, if you are a collector with a larger wrist, like myself, I have an 8-inch wrist, the 39mm will give you a better fit because it has a longer lug-to-lug measurement. Bear in mind that this is a relatively short piece at 45mm lug-to-lug measurement rather than 48 as per the SN021-G in 39mm. So this really is best suited to collectors with a 6 to 7 inch wrist. Now with regards to heft, it's only 134 grams with all the links in the oyster style bracelet. It feels weightless, it feels like an invisible watch on wrist. This is one of the most comfortable watches I have ever reviewed. I've reviewed over 100 watches on my channel. And something I always discuss is feel-good factor and also comfort level. And when I refer to comfort level, I'm talking about wearing the watch for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. Is the watch comfortable, yes or no? This watch is incredibly comfortable. It really does feel invisible due to the lack of heft. As you'll know from my previous reviews, I consider circa 150 grams to be the sweet spot with a 40mm case. Now this is 36.9. So 134 grams is a very lightweight lack of heft for a 37mm watch effectively. 36.9 is very close to it. So female pivoted end links give a good fit. It's also very low profile at only 11.3mm thick due to the flat sapphire crystal rather than the domed boxed crystal used on the SN021-G. So it will easily slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. The perfect daily wear piece. Lower profile than the 020G, and I think that that is something to consider. If you're a collector with a 6 to 7 inch wrist and you're looking for low profile, you're looking for lack of heft, if you're looking for comfort level, this is it personified. Beautiful looking piece, absolutely love it. The flat sapphire crystal is gorgeous. I love the way the light catches the lip of the crystal. As you can see, when I tilt it in the light, the edge of the crystal projecting above the mirror polished bezel catches the light. It's just absolutely gorgeous to look at. Very well executed piece. So let's do a loom test. Now this uses BGW9 Super Luminova, which is top grade loom, so I've got very high expectations of it. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to its absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. This is 10 out of 10 performance. It's glowing incredibly brightly, and it will continue to glow for a good length of time. There is no difference whatsoever between the BGW9 Super Luminova that San Martin are using and Rolex Chromalight or Seiko Lumibright. It has equal performance. It's glowing as bright as Seiko Lumibright and Rolex Chromalight, and it's also continuing to glow for the same length of time. I've previously reviewed my San Martin SN021-G, and I compared it to my Rolex Oyster Perpetual 41. And one thing I did was I did a loom test and I compared the San Martin BGW9 Super Luminova to the Rolex Chromalights used on my Oyster Perpetual 41. And I showed them side by side, and there is no difference in performance whatsoever. They both glow with the same brightness, they both glow for the same length of time. So this is something that I really want to give special credit to San Martin for, because they use some of the best loom in the watch industry, and really they do make the very best quality loom dials and hands in the Chinese watchmaking industry. They really haven't cut any corners like so many other Chinese brands. As you can see, continuing to glow for a good length of time, still glowing brightly. It's 10 out of 10, I cannot fault it. Right, so let's discuss the movement used because it's one of my favourite aspects of the piece. So the SN020-G uses the Seiko NH35A automatic. This uses the PT5000, so the caliber PT5000 is made by HK Precision Technology in China. It's been in use since September 2015, so at this stage it's a reliable, well-proven workhorse movement. The PT5000 is a direct clone of the ETA 2824-2. The architecture of the movement is identical in its design. It runs at the same 28,800 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 4 Hz. And as you'll know from my previous reviews, I like 4 Hz movements because if you look closely at the second hand, 4 Hz gives a characteristic smooth sweep to the second hand. With the Seiko NH35A automatic used in the SN020-G, for example, it runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz, and that gives a stutter or a judder to the second hand. 3 Hz movements don't run as smoothly, but this is a 4 Hz movement running at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and therefore the second hand has a characteristic smooth sweep, which I prefer. So it has 25 joules, which is the same as the ETA 2824-2, hand winding and hacking, which are useful complications, and it has a 40-hour power reserve, which is perfectly acceptable. Now, the PT5000 is one of my personal favourite movements, and I'll explain why. In 2018, it gained global notoriety for a positive reason. It was the first Chinese-made movement to be certified at the Glashütte Chronometer Observatory in Germany as a chronometer. Now I'll explain why that's important. ETA movements such as the ETA 2824-2 and also Sellita movements such as the SW200-1 are COSC chronometer certified, and that happens in Switzerland. They are Swiss-made movements. But because the PT5000 is made by HK Precision Technology in China, therefore it cannot be certified by COSC. It's not a Swiss-made movement, it's Chinese-made. So what they did was a manufacturer of a watch used the PT5000, and they then, after casing, they brought the watch to the Glashütte Chronometer Observatory in Germany, and they observed it. They tested it to within chronometer limits at the Glashütte Observatory, and it met the chronometer limits, and it was therefore certified by the Glashütte Chronometer Observatory. So this movement can be regulated in 6 positions to exactly the same COSC chronometer limits, -4 to +6 seconds per day, as per the ETA 2824-2 and the Sellita SW200-1. So it has the same ability, it has the same technical accuracy. Now, the stated accuracy of the PT5000 is ±12 seconds per day. However, I'm pleased to report that San Martin are regulating their movements to a very good accuracy. This one is regulated to +3 seconds per day, which is actually within COSC chronometer limits of -4 to +6 seconds per day. So I want you to bear that in mind. For $300 you are getting a watch with a movement that is regulated to +3 seconds per day. That is chronometer grade accuracy. That is incredible value and incredible specification. So lastly, I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So $300, it's significantly more expensive than the SN020-G, which uses the Seiko NH35A automatic. The question is it worth paying the extra to have a PT5000 automatic? And the answer is yes. The PT5000 is a higher grade of movement than the Seiko NH35A. As I've detailed, it's more accurate, the build quality is higher, the quality control is higher, and the quality of the materials is also higher. The other benefit is it runs at 4 Hz rather than 3 Hz as per the NH35A, so one gets a smoother sweep. It has a similar 40-hour power reserve, but the thing to bear in mind that 4 Hz is the perfect compromise between power reserve and accuracy. I personally think that 4 Hz is a better balance between power reserve and accuracy than the 3 Hz used by Seiko as per the NH35A. So, better movement, higher grade, more accurate, better build quality, better reliability. So, yes, I consider it to be excellent quality, and yes, I consider it to be excellent value. Are there any negatives to the watch? None whatsoever. The one negative I criticised the SN020-G was that the crown had the S signed crown, which looked like a dollar symbol, a US dollar symbol, but San Martin have addressed this. They've responded to feedback from collectors and they have upgraded it to the San Martin hex crown, which is fantastic. So that was the only negative of the 39mm version, the SN020-G, which I previously reviewed. The hex logo really does finish this watch to perfection. There are no negatives whatsoever. They have got everything correct. Flat sapphire crystal with clear AR coating, BGW9 Superlume Nova, as I've demonstrated, is top grade. 4 micro adjustment holes rather than 2 or 3. So there are no negatives whatsoever. It uses screw pins in the bracelet rather than push pins. I'm going to declare this a champagne watch for lemonade money. This is one of the greatest San Martin watches ever made. It is fully worth $300 US. I think it's outstanding quality and outstanding value at the price point. So I'm going to highly recommend it to you for your consideration. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the San Martin SN021-G limited edition. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.